The scorching sun hovered over the vast desert, casting golden hues across endless dunes. A lone camel, its massive body built for endurance, trudged through the sands, each step pressing into the hot terrain before lifting again with practiced ease. The desert was its home, a place where only the strongest could survive. 4 hours, the camel had been on the move, its deep, intelligent eyes scanning the horizon. It was searching for something vital, something that meant the difference between life and death: water. The air was dry, carrying the scent of dust and distant vegetation. And then it found it. Not far ahead, nestled between towering dunes, lay a small oasis. A shimmering pool of water reflected the bright sky, surrounded by palm trees that swayed gently in the wind. The camel picked up its pace, driven by an unbreakable instinct. It had traveled far, endured the relentless heat, and now relief was just within reach. It reached the water's edge and lowered its head, its cracked lips touching the cool surface. The first sip was blissful, washing away hours of exhaustion. It drank deeply, savoring the rare moment of comfort. But in that moment of peace, danger lurked unseen. A faint buzzing sound drifted through the air. It was subtle at first, almost blending with the rustling of palm leaves. Then, it grew louder. The camel's ears twitched as it lifted its head, droplets of water trickling down its muzzle. Something wasn't right. From within the hollow of a nearby tree, a swarm of bees erupted like a dark storm. Their furious buzzing filled the oasis, an angry response to an intruder unknowingly disturbing their territory. Before the camel could react, the attack began. A sharp sting landed just above its eye, a burning pain that sent shockwaves through its body. Then another, and another. Within seconds, the air around the camel became a living cloud of furious insects. They attacked relentlessly, targeting the softest, most vulnerable parts of its body: its eyes, nose, and legs. The camel bellowed in pain, shaking its massive head violently in an attempt to rid itself of the tiny tormentors. It stomped its feet, sending up clouds of dust, but the bees only grew more aggressive. Each sting was like fire piercing its thick hide, leaving behind venom that spread through its veins. Panic set in. The camel thrashed, rolling onto the ground in a desperate attempt to crush its attackers. Sand and water scattered in every direction, but the bees remained merciless. The more the camel fought, the more venom filled its bloodstream. It had only one choice: run. With a sudden burst of energy, the camel bolted from the oasis, galloping across the dunes in a frenzied attempt to escape. The bees followed like a relentless storm, their buzzing growing louder as they pursued. The burning stings blurred the camel's vision, its powerful legs growing weak as venom pulsed through its body. Somewhere in the distance, a group of desert travelers spotted the chaos. They had seen camels before, but never one in such distress. Something was terribly wrong. Without hesitation, they spurred their horses forward, racing toward the struggling animal. As they closed the distance, the sight before them became clearer: a towering camel, covered in swelling stings, its body trembling with exhaustion. The swarm around it moved like a living shadow, a force of nature too small to fight. One of the men, an experienced herder, knew they had to act fast. Pulling a thick cloth from his saddle, he lit one end with a small flame. Smoke. It was their only weapon. With careful precision, they waved the burning cloth, letting thick, curling smoke billow into the air. The effect was immediate. The bees hesitated, their attack faltering as the smoke cloud spread. The men continued, creating more smoke, forcing the swarm to retreat. Slowly, the buzzing began to fade. The bees, overwhelmed by the thick air, scattered back toward the oasis. The once relentless storm had passed, leaving behind only silence. The camel, now free from its attackers, collapsed onto the sand. Its once mighty frame trembled, covered in red, swollen welts where hundreds of stings had pierced its skin. Its eyes, usually full of wisdom and resilience, were glazed with pain. The rescuers wasted no time. One of them knelt beside the animal, running a hand over its heaving chest. It was still alive, but barely. Another man pulled out a small leather pouch, extracting a mixture of herbs and water. Carefully, he applied the remedy to the worst of the stings, hoping to ease the agony. Minutes passed. The camel's breathing slowed, but its body remained motionless. The venom had taken its toll. The men knew they had done everything they could. Now, only time would tell. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the desert air grew cool. The camel, lying under the soft glow of twilight, finally stirred. A slow, shuddering breath escaped its lips. Its muscles twitched. Its head lifted slightly, eyes blinking against the dimming light. One of the men poured water into a shallow bowl and placed it near the camel's muzzle. At first, the animal didn't respond. Then, with a weak but determined movement, it leaned forward and drank. Relief washed over the rescuers. The camel had fought a battle against an unseen enemy, and it had survived. The men prepared to leave, knowing they had done their part. Before mounting his horse, one of them gave the camel a final, reassuring pat. As night fell, the stars blinked into existence above the endless dunes. The desert had tested the limits of survival that day, but it had also witnessed an act of mercy. Somewhere in the darkness, the wind carried away the echoes of the struggle, and the desert, vast and unforgiving, remained unchanged. But one thing was certain: this was a battle the camel would never forget. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, All Rescuers, for more incredible animal rescue stories. Your support helps us bring more awareness to the struggles of wildlife. See you in the next video.